What's going on, guys? Kind of a unique video today, and if you were watching it here, know that there is also a video going live right now over on the primary channel. Over here, you guys are going to see one chunk from a weekend that my buddies and I got to enjoy in Central Florida, and that is the live fire portion of our training weekend get together. The other half of that training occurred on the day prior to all the footage that you are seeing in this video over at a facility called Decision Tactical, which is a law enforcement training facility that blends the physical and the virtual worlds together. Does it in an extremely kind of a unique and a way that I've never seen before, despite my many years in this sort of industry. And so I'd encourage you guys to watch this and then head over there and learn more about Decision Tactical. In this video, you guys are going to see me exposing some of my friends to some drills and some training that a lot of them have not yet had access to. I should say that I am not a firearms instructor. You know, I've been a professional soldier for many years, and I have a little bit of a background in this sort of stuff, and I feel very comfortable teaching the fundamentals of marksmanship to low-level, entry-level shooters. I haven't gone out and knocked the socks off of a USPSA competition before. I've competed a little bit, but I'm not, you know, some sort of grandmaster shooter or anything like that. But I do have enough knowledge that I feel comfortable transferring it to my friends and sharing some of the things that I have learned over the years. And that's exactly what we took advantage of during this weekend. We started off running some just basic rifle marksmanship drills. We shot a baseline. After we shot that baseline, we worked through just building a grip, understanding how your rifle's put together, and understanding the things like length of pull, optic setup, grip placement, sling manipulation, stance, how to hold the weapon, how to index the stock in your shoulder, all that sort of stuff. Then we worked that through a couple of strings of fire so that we could focus on really holding ourselves to account with precision accuracy in a CQB kind of environment. Once we finished that, we moved back, 100 yards or so, and we worked through firing out of the prone, transitioning from the prone to the sitting, to the kneeling, to the standing, and really dialing in our marksmanship and some of those fundamentals. Then we got close again, and we did some moving and shooting, some run, stop, and shoot, run, stop, turn and shoot, moving laterally left and right and shooting, firing controlled pairs, and controlling recoil over a couple of longer strings of fire. We finally finished the day by running a couple of stages, and I'm basically going to chunk this video into each one of those segments so you guys can see the way that I was communicating the information, what I was trying to share with my buddies, and hopefully give you guys an idea of what a day at the range with your friends might be like. A lot of times it's intimidating for new shooters to go to the range for a first time. This might provide you with a framework where you're starting from very simple concepts and advancing to more, intermediate level stuff in a very safe and a controlled environment, so that you're building everybody's proficiency in the process. And when they leave and they go back to their homes, they have a basic template for what a productive range day might look like. Remember, when you're done here, make sure you head over to the main channel so you can catch all the Decision Tactical information. If you guys enjoy it, leave some comments down below. I'd be happy to provide any information that you guys are curious about, be it the kit that we're running, the firearms that we're using, the drills that we're running, or anything like that. Those are all discussions I look forward to having with each of you. I'm Controlled Pairs, and I hope you guys enjoy.
So I'm going to give you zero instruction. I'm going to give you a very simple course of fire. Just execute that course of fire. We'll go check our targets, then we'll do a little bit of fundamentals coaching, and then we're going to reshoot it at the end. So what we're going to start off here is we're going to fire a 10-round group into the A zone, the upper half of the A zone of our target down there. So if the A zone's that center, perforated box in the center of the target, the upper half of that A zone is where we're aiming, okay? So 10 rounds, whatever speed you'd like, into the upper A zone whenever you're ready. Everybody rounds complete? Yep. All right, weapons on safe. Go ahead, go down range and take a look at your hits. If you have any that are outside of the upper half of the A zone, come to the center, grab a pasty, and go ahead and cover it up. So we're only covering up our misses, we'll leave our hits. First, we're going to just talk through basic rifle setup. So, especially on the AR pattern, certainly still true of the AK, but sometimes less so, ergonomics are a factor. First thing let's talk about is your sling. Two different ways to run a sling if you're shooting, essentially, unless you're running a single point, but you shouldn't. Most of us have this quick release on the left side of our sling, right? Yep. And you can drag it, you can go looser, you can tighten it, you can go faster. You can talk about like sling manipulation all day long. Typically, if I'm shooting, I have it pretty damn loose. If you have it tight, that's typically for your moving from cover to cover sort of thing. But when you want to shoot and your arm is through the sling like I'm wearing it right now, you typically want it more loose so you have more movement over your gun. So go ahead and loosen up your sling so it's it feels comfortable enough that you can cleanly point the gun at me, but so you can cleanly bring your rifle up and your sling is not going to interfere with doing that. The other option here is the you'll hear guys say like the combat necklace, and that's whenever your arm actually comes completely out of sling like this. A lot of times you'll see guys do this if you're going into a building or something like that and they know they're going to need more left and right lateral movement. It gives you a little bit more freedom, but for our purposes out here, I would typically recommend that you just keep your sling like this. Now that our sling is adjusted, let's double check our length of pull. This is just describing the distance from basically where your shoulder's hitting the stock up to your hand grip, and then making sure that your grip on the rifle is appropriate. You want to make sure that your length of pull is comfortable. The easiest way to check it usually is if you hold the weapon like this, you want your stock extended such that it is just touching that joint between your elbow and your bicep, and it's sitting comfortably right there. That's a good first check. Now if it's sitting comfortably right there, we can then confirm it by aiming down our sights and confirming that when we do that, you're getting a nice clean sight picture, that if you have a low power variable optic, your eye relief is comfortable and you're not having to move your head around to fix your eye relief, and that if you're using a red dot or a hollow, that you're not seeing any weird parallax in your sight, that dot or that holographic reticle is centered in your sight picture. So confirm that your length of pull is appropriate. And then we're not going to make adjustments to vertical grips right now. You'll see a lot of guys run, grips real far out so they can get that like super hua like seat clamp. A lot of guys are really good shooters and do that. Good on them. It is more comfortable for me. I'm also a smaller dude, to have my grip a little bit closer in. I feel like I have more control over my gun when it's like that. So I have my grip right here so that I get a nice angle in the firearm and I'm able to pull it back into my shoulder. I find that if I have my arm extended all the way, I have less control. For precision shooting, you might be able to shoot very quickly like that, but for precision shooting, I lose some control. The next thing we can talk about is your actual cheek to stock weld. So whenever you guys check your length of pull to make sure that you had like a good clean sight picture, go ahead and just go to the low ready and then bring your rifle up a couple times and confirm that each time you bring it up, that optic is going exactly to the right place. And what that should feel like is your head and eyes should be almost static, and the rifle is coming up to meet where your eyes are already looking at. So you get in the habit of making sure that you're in the right body position, looking at your target, and then when the gun comes up, it is pointed at that target, and you're not having to move your head around or do anything weird to get a reticle on the target. Okay? All right, next, let's talk about stock placement in your actual body. Two schools of thought about on this for those of us with military backgrounds in the GWAT. Most of us were taught to shoot in an isosceles stance, right? Meaning that your plate is presented to the target, your feet, you might have one foot slightly in front of the other, and you're just supposed to lean into the gun and shoot just like this. I don't find that to be comfortable. If you shoot better like that, fantastic. What I find to be more comfortable is a more athletic stance, my right foot to the rear, my left foot leaning forward a pretty significant amount, a slight bend in the knees, and then when I bring the gun up, that stock is sitting in the pocket between my pectoral muscle and my shoulder, and I'm trapping it there by rolling my shoulder forward. So without pointing a gun at you guys, you can see it's sitting in that crevice. It's sitting in that crevice, and then I'm pulling it into my shoulder with my left hand. My right hand is doing a little bit of pulling, but not nearly as much because I don't want to add torque to my sight picture, and I'm rolling this shoulder forward. And when I roll that shoulder forward, it traps that stock in that position, which is going to help you over longer strings of fire so that you're not losing your sight picture. So what that ends up looking like is shoulders rolled forward, gun is being pulled into my chest with my left hand, right hand comes up to the pistol grip, not adding a ton of new torque to the gun. Most of the power is coming out of my left hand, and I'm trapping it, between my boob and my right shoulder. If that makes sense. So go ahead and do that real quick as well. Make sure you're getting that nice athletic stance. You're pulling the gun into your shoulder. I'd put this left leg forward a little more. I'd put this left leg forward more. I'd get a little bit more bend in your knees. Try not to arch your back. Keep your back like a nice athletic, and strong upper body. you might need to exaggerate even more. Like, see, like I look like I'm fucking getting ready to like come off the blocks.
Oh, like you're about to like,
you know,
push forward.
and you'll find that over longer strings of fire, you won't get pushed back. So we're gonna shoot that same string of fire now. Most of you guys shot fine during our first 10, but apply those fundamentals and shoot another 10 rounds into the upper A zone and see what it feels like. Difference between a controlled pair and a hammered pair: you're firing 2 bullets in both cases. A controlled pair means you're reacquiring your sight picture in order to deliver 2 precise, accurate shots. That also means the split time between those 2 shots takes longer. A hammered pair is it's a double. It is 2 rounds fired off a single sight picture. So the gun's going to come up, you're going to get your clean sight picture, you're going to fire 2 rounds off that same sight picture. This is when we're going to start to see those fundamentals matter, because we're adding recoil control to the equation, which means now if you fire one, we expect to see the second round higher. We expect that. We don't expect it to see it to the left or the right, and we don't expect it to be so high that we're seeing like a 6 to a 10-inch difference between it. Like I expect, you know, at 25, 30 yards, your average hammered pair, probably a 4-inch group with 4 inches of vertical separation between the first and the second shot. And you'll be able to achieve that by executing those fundamentals, especially pulling the gun back into your shoulder, getting that good stance, leaning into the gun, and making sure it's trapped in your shoulder pocket. All right, so we're gonna fire, we're gonna do them on ready up. When you hear up, bring the gun up, go ahead and fire your hammered pair. Okay? Up. Up. If you're feeling weird or seeing weird stuff, double check your stance, look down at your feet, pay attention where your stock's landing in your shoulder. All right, so we're closer to the target now. So Walt just mentioned this, which is completely valid. As we get closer, our height overbore exaggeration gets worse. So look at the mechanical offset between where your optic is mounted, where you know that you're zeroed, what distance you zeroed out, and account for that whenever you actually shoot this next drill. All right, we're gonna shoot, and everyone has a full 30 round mag, right?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna shoot a bill from the rifle. So we're gonna fire 6 rounds as fast as possible and as safely as possible in the same fashion that you just fired those hammered pairs. The challenge of the bill drill, which is what this is called, is that you're firing at the same speed that you just were, like that hammered pair speed, but you're not going to be able to maintain a clear sight picture through 6 rounds. So the challenge is managing your recoil and doing recoil control, and the only way to do that is through the fundamentals we already talked about: proper stance, proper grip, proper sight alignment, pulling the gun into your shoulder, rolling your shoulder forward to trap it. It's the only way to do it. So you're going to lean into the gun, you're going to hear ready up, the weapon's going to come up, you're going to focus on putting 6 rounds, and we're going to say the upper A zone again as fast as possible. Shooters ready. Up. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing again. First time we got all the jitters out, now you know what it feels like. We're gonna try the exact same drill again. All right, shooters ready. Up.
Oh, way better.
Yeah, I felt that one. Yeah. Especially with that big brake on it, it's gonna push it back.
Are you tending towards the sausage?
Yeah.
Is that what you're used to?
Yeah.
Are you feeling it as we add more rounds?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I challenge you to just try that more athletic stance to see what it feels like. Even if it feels weird, just do it one time to feel the difference in recoil control, and if you prefer it.
Okay.
And if you don't prefer it, that's fine. Do your thing. Up. All right, shooter ready. Up.
Stand by.
What was it? So it was a 218. Is that one low?
Yeah.
Okay, so 218, one flyer.
Actually, too low.
Damn.
Yeah, because there's one between below
So
my
two's
direct.
debatable, right?
Okay. Line break and then one flyer.
Three is the.
That's 218. I'd say like new shooter shooting this, probably 2.5, 2.75 with the 1, maybe 2 flyers is what I would expect. Let's set a par time of 2.25 with 1 flyer excused.
One more?
Man, that was so slow, dude.
All right, so excellent splits, and I see what, 2 flyers, and he did. I mean, he didn't get that last round off.
But still.
1.44
Jeez.
with 2 flyers and 1 unshot round. But those splits and those 5 that came out were pretty solid. Shooter ready.
Yeah.
Stand by. It was 3.58 with what, 3 flyers?
Yeah.
What I would say though, she's running an AK. It's a pain in the ass to take it off safe. I think you get you should get like a 3.25 buffer. But there you go. All right. 2.86
One flyer?
with a
2.
yeah, maybe 1 lower half A zone and then at least 1 flyer, but you're just above par and shooting well.
Yes. So you saw Army shooting.
So like 2.61 clean, maybe 1 low.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty clean. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Think about how fast you can shoot, right? Count it out. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. However fast you can squeeze that trigger, count it out, and then when you fire, practice that cadence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whatever it is. You have to have a real nice pair of jeans to show off all this work I've been doing. And then you want a straight line from your spine down to your torso. So your muzzle connects with your torso, connects with your spine, goes straight out your tailbone. And that straight line should be pointed directly at your target. The way that you know if you've achieved a good firing position, I'm putting a mag in just so I have a stable platform here. Is when you're behind the gun and you put your reticle on the target and then close your eyes and breathe easy for 1 or 2 breaths. Open your eyes. If your reticle is still on the target, you have found your natural point of aim and you know that you've successfully gotten to a stable prone fighting position. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so real quick, don't worry about that transition. I'll show it to you guys in a second. Let's line it up. If you want to go in the prone, do it. If you don't feel like laying in the ground, I totally understand. Watch out for cow shit. Get in the prone, find that stable firing position, close your eyes, breathe with your reticle on the target, open your eyes, and see if you're able to find that stable firing position. So we took contact, we got down in the prone, situation's changing, we now need to come up and get ready to move. We're going to go from the prone position to the kneeling position. If you're in the prone and you're firing, you got your natural point of aim. My right hand is always going to maintain positive control of my gun. So what I do is simultaneously, my left hand comes off the gun and goes to the ground, right in between, right underneath my chest. The butt stock comes up and it's basically in my armpit. And I'm rocking back to sit on my foot. Because I typically go feet to the So hand comes in, right here. My stock comes out right underneath my armpit. And I'm rocking straight back into my foot. And I'm now in a seated position. Now this seated position gives me a very stable firing platform. I'm sitting down on my foot. It takes a little bit of flexibility. It doesn't feel great, but you can shoot really well from right here. You see I also have a good... the meaty part of my tricep is resting right on top of my kneecap. So I've got a nice firm firing position there. I'm able to pull that stock back into my chest. So this gives me a nice easy firing position. And if I need to elevate or if I'm getting ready to move, I can just rock straight forward into a kneeling position before standing up. And that entire time I keep my head on the gun so I'm not coming off the wall. Except for that 20-second time it takes me to rock back. So again, full speed. I'm in the prone, cover me while I move, that, breathing, move straight back, sitting, coming up, here. That's what it looks like. So this time, rock back into that seated position, send 3 rounds, come forward into a kneeling position, send 3 rounds, stand up, send 3 rounds, whenever you're ready. So height over bore still applies here because we're now close to the targets, and we're also going to be decreasing and increasing our distance to the target throughout the drill. So your holds are going to matter, and your height over bore is going to change throughout the drill. First thing we're going to do is practice moving to a firing position, arriving to it, and shooting once you get there. It's called a run, stop, and shoot. So right now we're at 20 yards. On the buzzer, we're gonna move to the 10-yard line at a jog, arrive to the 10-yard line, and then fire a hammered pair once we arrive there. I'll quickly demo the movement, then I'll demo it live speed, and then we'll do it all together. And I'll go over the safety considerations for moving and shooting on a line to make sure we're good there. So quick, talk through demo. What you're gonna hear is shooter ready up on up. You're not shooting, you are moving. So you're at the 20-yard line. I went to go slap a mag that isn't there. So you're at the 20-yard line, you hear shooter ready up. You're gonna move forward. We're gonna call the 10-yard line that tree, so we all have a common reference point. You're jogging, you're jogging, you're jogging, you're jogging. Now here is kind of like the only real technical piece about arriving to a position and shooting at it. Your gun should be coming up to the target as you arrive to it, so that whenever you are arriving to the firing position, those rounds can go off immediately. So it does not look like this. It looks like this. And you'll notice also there, when you arrive to it, you're moving at an athletic jog, and right as you arrive to the target, you're slowing down, your body's rocking into that firing position, and you're delivering those rounds. And your weight is forward, and you naturally arrive in that athletic shooting stance because you're just coming out of a jog. And then be careful too, not to stand all the way up like this, because once you've stood all the way up, it takes more time for your body to reload and move to your next firing position. So you want to keep your body center mass fairly low, arrive to that position, deliver the rounds, and I'm still kind of leaning forward in that athletic position. I'm still a little bit lower to the ground. So if I need to move, I can immediately do it. Rather than being here, when I need to move, I have to reload my body to start moving again. Does that make sense? So full speed, I'll shoot it real quick. Does that make sense? Yep. I shot a little bit slower than I should have. That was more controlled than it was hammered. But you guys get the idea. The other thing is when you're running, so safety piece here. When you're running, typically you'd be hauling ass at the low ready with your gun like this. For our purposes today, keep your weapon pointed to the forward. So you're jogging like this. And then the gun comes up. Be very mindful of the people around you. Don't sprint down there, just jog. Nice and easy, generally online. We just want to practice the mechanics. So on safe until you arrive in the firing position. Gun comes off safe when the gun comes up. Up. If you're in contact and your buddy and you are doing buddy team bounds back under fire breaking contact, someone's shooting, someone's moving, this simulates your portion of the bound where you are breaking contact, turning around and setting. So we're going to start, you guys will start at the 10-yard line, go to the 20, I'm starting at the target, going to the 10, just a demo. You're right here, you're going to hear shooter ready, up, you're going to turn around, move up range 10 yards to the palm tree. As soon as you arrive, you're going to pivot, turn around, you're already in that athletic firing position, and you're gonna send your rounds. The biggest safety issue here is on that turnaround piece. Keep your guns pointed at the ground during that turnaround piece. So I'm here, it's just like a rear march for military people, right? But I'm keeping my gun in the dirt because I've got people around me. I'm turning around, and I'm delivering those rounds. Cool? Good? So we're going to be facing the right. You're going to hear ready up. Your two options. What I tend to find more comfortable is my left foot comes back. Equally acceptable is swinging your right foot forward. But either way, you're going to pivot one foot, arrive in that athletic stance, and send 2 rounds into the upper A zone. Up. All right, we're going to hit that one more time. Left turn and shoot. Ready, up. You're going to hear ready up, and you're going to start facing up range, or excuse me, right range, just like we did on the left and right turn and shoot. On the command ready up, you're going to begin walking with your eyes on your target as previously designated. On the command up is when you're actually going to fire. So what this is going to look like is ready, and you start slowly walking, just like this, slowly walking up. Your gun comes up, you deliver your 2 shots on the move, you continue moving. So full speed, what this looks like for Lily's target is someone give me a ready and then an up.
Ready.
So walking, give me an up.
Up.
Make sense? Again, 2 schools of thought on this one as well. Old school dudes will tell you to keep your body as a turret, and that when you're walking forward, you're just be an athlete and crank your gun to the side and figure it out. And that your feet are supposed to be in treads and tank tracks that just stay forward. That works if you've got the flexibility to do it. Doesn't feel particularly comfortable. My recommendation is if you end up having to move laterally and shoot, get those shots off before you pass your target or it becomes extremely difficult. And then if you feel the need to be an athlete and turn your feet and do a little bit of this, that is completely acceptable. If you turn your toes towards the target, we all know how to walk. We've been doing it for a long time. I don't believe that it's unsafe to cross your feet as long as you are able to walk. Ready. Up. Ready. Up. All right, we are gonna walk from here to the 10 without stopping while remaining on line and delivering 5 rounds to the A zone before we arrive to the 10. Okay? Walking and shooting. If you're executing your fundamentals, holding your rifle correctly, your optic is still going to move. You will never be satisfied with exactly where it is. You have to be satisfied that it is at least wobbling on the center mass of the target. Maintain your fundamentals and send your 5 rounds despite the frustration that is not sitting exactly where you want it to. That's just a fact of it. You can mitigate some of it by turning your walk into a glide. So rather than doing what we usually do and walk like that, you can turn it into a glide so that you're not bouncing nearly as much. Lower your center of mass to the target.
That's like my videography days.
All right, does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So be cognizant of our firing line. Up. Up. I'm just going to talk through malfunction procedures because I don't think we have the time to go through it in depth. But you have immediate and remedial action to clearing a malfunction. Immediate action is what you do immediately upon realizing your gun is not working. Remedial action is like, fuck, I tried to fix it and it doesn't work still. We're not going to go all the way into remedial action right now. We're just going to go into immediate action. And I get like a click instead of a bang. A couple things could be happening. I could have a double feed, I could have a stove pipe, I could have a failure to fire, failure to feed, failure to extract, any number of things. The beauty is the solution to almost all of those is the exact same. And that is to first, make sure that your magazine is seated. Especially if you just came out of a reload, that's probably the diagnosis, is your mag is not seated. Once you slap the magazine, you what, Army people?
Tap, pull.
Pull! In Marine Corps, it's tap, rack, bang, which works too. Army says slap this, pull your charging handle, observe the chamber to see if you have a double feed or stovepipe or anything weird going on that you need to like bust out a Gerber and fix. Release it, it'll go forward. Yeah. Tap the forward assist and then shoot. So sports. Slap the mag, pull the charging handle, observe the chamber, make sure it's not fucked up, release the charging handle, tap the forward assist, shoot your gun to confirm that you cleared the malfunction. If you don't remember sports because it's too long and we can't count that high, just tap, rack, bang, which is how the Marine Corps handles it. It's just tap the mag, rack the gun, shoot the gun, which in reality is what we all end up actually doing when we're clearing malfunctions. What you'll find is we all know the procedures, we all know how to clear malfunctions, we just don't have enough. And they always, it's like Pavlov's dog in a variable reward system. Malfunctions happen 3 times a range day per person if you shoot 400 rounds, probably. So you're not getting that many reps. You can mitigate this with like snap caps and other things that you work into your mags at random intervals. But the reality is your brain just immediately needs to know tap, rack, bang. Tap, rack, bang. Tap, rack, bang. All right, rifle reloads. 2 types of reloads. An emergency reload and then a tactical reload or whatever else you want to brand it. Emergency reload just means you have a black magazine, your bolt is locked to the rear because that magazine is empty and you are very likely still in contact and need to solve the problem immediately. The solution to this is if my mag is dry and I get the bang, I get the click instead of the bang, my bolt is going to be locked to the rear. You guys all know how to change the mag, so I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm just going to show you how I do it. Mag is dry, mag comes out. A lot of people that are stronger than me will just hold it in their shoulder, and I think that's totally fine for competition or virtually any other application. But you may find that putting it just under your armpit like this is a little bit faster. The other option is to put it into your quote-unquote workspace. This developed over the GWAT because we work under nods a lot, and doing this without being able to see your rifle in the dark is very difficult, especially with that fucked up field of view from your nods. So dudes will put it right here because with night vision on, I'm able to see it. During daylight hours, I don't do that. So mag goes dry, I drop the mag, it is right underneath my armpit, tucked in. I'm grabbing my magazine from off my kit, and when I'm going to put it in, people argue over, do I look at the target, do I look at my gun? My vote is look at the gun, because it can't help you with the target until it has ammo in it. So I'm watching my mag. I use this grip right here. It's like a beer can grip with my thumb up when I grab the mags, and it's staged on my kit so that I can get to it quickly. I'm watching the mag into the mag well, riding it all the way home, and that thumb was up, and I was using that beer can grip because now that it's seated, I have immediate access to the charging handle, and I can send around forward. And squeeze this shit out of the gun. Recoil control is gonna be, the two things that'll slow you down here is recoil control, trigger freeze. So the cadence drill solves your recoil control issue, or your trigger freeze issue, and that grip, and just vice grip the shit out of the gun with your left hand will solve your recoil control issue. You're still gonna have it spread. It'll look like a shotgun blast, but you'll at least be on paper.
We're going till empty?
Yep. She has a 25 rounder. Let it rip, let it rip. Go. Ready? Up.
Alright, ready, up.
That wasn't too bad.
So we're bringing the targets back, and then we're gonna put some steel out. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Get it, mag.
Empties?
And that gun's sick.
Yeah, it's so nice.
So when you start the stage, just have your muzzle against the barricade as a start position.
All right.
Everyone got ears? All right, shooter ready.
Ready?
Stand by.